Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews. Today we're looking at a manga series I've been looking to review for a very long time, World Trigger. For those who haven't read up on it and have just come across this because of this video, World Trigger is a story that's sci-fi-ish, kind of like Starship Troopers type of thing. And effectively what happens 4.5 years before the story starts is some type of alien race that they refer to as neighbors effectively attack Earth, so to speak, and using the military and a new organization called Border, they effectively are able to understand the enemy's technology and devise ways to use them themselves, and they refer to them as triggers. It follows the story of a neighbor and a then character who's a C-ranked rookie in the Border team, and their journey to get to the top of the Border organization and fill their own side goals at the same time. So an interesting story. Today we're looking at chapter 132. So without further ado, let's get into the review. So point number one. Point number one is an interesting kind of element. So there's two elements to this point, and initially the chapter starts off with people commenting on how Tomokoma's first division is really powerful, and the fact that they've got these custom type of technique, the triggers, I should say, rather than weapons, are really powerful and they really do the thing. At the same time, I was also commented on because of the nature of these weapons and the power that they utilize, they are very taxing on the body. What we also find out is one of the members, he's referred to as Reggie, but his actual name is Regindets, and he's one of the people that are attacking Earth at the moment, and he makes a plan that he'll go into town to separate them or spread thin the defense. Unfortunately for him, the previous invasion had a similar kind of tactic and they just ignored him. There's a guy called Shinji who says don't worry about it, if he does kind of get close to it, we'll teleport you there and we'll use my teleporter, which was kind of cool. It's also, they also take into consideration Fuji's prediction of the future, which kind of put them at ease a little bit with reassurance that he did say that no one else was going to get damaged. So an interesting point to bear in mind, how what he does moving forward, I mean as in the defense as well as the attacker Reggie, what they decide to do moving forward will be interesting to see in the next upcoming chapters. But that's point number one. Point number two, an interesting continuation of the fight. So it kind of goes to where the other battle is going on between Tachikawa, Kazama, Konami, Murakami, and Gatlin and Ratchenikov. An interesting battle. They're still having their scuffle, so it's proving the toughness of both sides, I guess. So Ratchenikov is really kind of getting he's got his hands full with Kazama really, to the point where he's even noticed that this guy's quite calm under pressure in these situations. The Ratchenikov also noticed that there are teleporting triggers set up around this place and they need to be careful. On the flip side, Tachikawa, who's meant to be the number one attacker, Konami, who's also a really good attacker, and Murakami, who's actually an amazing attacker, all are fighting against Gatlin, and they all remark how tough he is as well. They joke about, if this continues I might lose faith in myself, and this guy's really tough, which leads on to point number three, which I found interesting because it was Gatlin's analysis of his enemy. So the way he goes about it is quite funny, so I'm going to talk about it in the next. So point number three is Gatlin's analysis of his attackers, his enemies. I found it quite funny because he doesn't know the enemies' names. He's only basing it on what he can see and the triggers that they're using. For example, he calls Konami Axe Girl because he doesn't know her name, but the fact that she uses an axe pretty well is why he's referencing to that. So that's how he's remembering her. So what his analysis goes is basically says Konami Axe Girl. He doesn't know her name, it's Konami, but he goes Axe Girl. She's agile. She's got formidable attacks. The fact that she can use Meteora as well means that she's able to disrupt him which gives opportunity for other people to attack. Now Murakami is the shield guy. He goes the shield guy. So he's the one thing that obstructs him, is basically from getting his job done, from attacking the target. He goes, he needs to be careful of positioning, because depending on both their positions, he normally gets involved in the fight as well. He appears to have good swordsmanship, and like I said, he's the biggest obstruction. Then he goes to Tachikawa and he goes, small beard. He goes, provides balance, he controls the pace, but he can make the decisive attack depending on where he is, because you've got that extending attack. And then at the end he talks about Kazama. So he goes, he's not, even though he's not necessarily technically fighting him, because he's in the area, he's still being able to make an analysis. He says Kazama is the youngest, he uses a dual wielding sword, and the fact that he's able to kind of suppress Ratrenikov is a big deal to him, and the fact that he uses camouflage is also an interesting that they need to bear in mind. Now whilst he's all doing this, he's obviously making the analysis partway through the fight. He kind of says the cannon has reloaded, which is an interesting bearing in mind how much damage it originally did, and the fact that Murakami lost his arm in the process. So well, his energy arm body, I guess. But it's interesting to bear in mind, which leads on to point number 4. So point number 4, with Gatlin now reloading the cannon, he obviously is in a rush to end this battle. Tachikawa realizes this, and he mentions that 2 people have already been defeated above ground, so he knows that basically this guy wants to finish things up. He also analyzes the situation and he goes, look, I have a plan, can I speak to you? And he's talking about Konami at this point. At the same time, while this is going on, Kazama realizes that, look, if he could defeat the enemy right in front of him, Ratrenikov, that he could help 4-on-1 against the enemy. But he goes, the best thing I could do right now is kind of keep this guy at bay so he doesn't interrupt them. Whilst that is happening, Gatlin's thinking, look, if I take care of one of them, that's going to tilt the battle in our favour, or I could attack the ship. While this is going on, Tachikawa and Konami kind of spring into action, and that's how the chapter ends, which leaves a lot for speculation, which I will talk about in the next point number 5. So, point number 5. Quite an interesting way to end the actual chapter. It really just set up the finale, potentially the finale of the battle. If you think back, Jin did say that he had a kind of a vision of the future where Tachikawa did get split in half or cut in half. Could this potentially be the chapter in chapter 133 that we see that? We'll have to wait and see. I'm really enjoying this chapter. I think this for me was a 8 out of 10. I'm really surprised this doesn't get that much love, considering how brilliantly the world triggers have been written. There's so much to it. Granted, the whole toy animation thing, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. They have not necessarily the best history of doing wonderful things with an anime, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes. I'm not fully up to date with that. I understand they've been using filler here and there as well, but we'll have to wait and see. But that's all my thoughts from me today, guys. How do you think this battle is going to end up? Is he going to find Tachikawa going to find a way to get past this cannon, not attack the ship, and basically not get cut in half? Or will Gatlin just go for the ship? Who do you think he will attack? We'll have to wait and see. It's all getting towards Tachikawa for the time being. But that's all for me today, guys. Please like, comment, just subscribe and share. Sorry, I had a kind of a moment there. And let all your friends know about it. And like I said, subscribe. But for now, peace.